My observations of Buffalo Bills training camp so far, and coming right up on today's edition of the Dow Mafia Report. Yo ho ho, Dow Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dow Mafia Report. And yes, you did read that title correctly. Today, I'm going to be giving you a couple of observations that I have made from following the Bills throughout their past 9 training camps. Things that I think are going to be very important to consider as we approach our first preseason game and inch closer and closer to week 1. What is this team going to look like? And who are people that I'm excited about, who are sleepers of making the roster? We're going to go ahead and dive into several topics in today's video. Before I get into it, though, I do just have a couple of announcements. Number one, Tavor is back. What is Tavor, you might ask? This is a craft beer application that takes a subscription method and brings you some hoppy goodness to your front doorstep whenever you damn please. The entire process is very easy. What you do is you download the app, scroll through some of the rarest craft beers known to man, choose what you want, and then Tavor will deliver it to your front doorstep. We are essentially talking a revolutionary beer run. And so what makes it even better, Tavor is also hooking up the Dow Mafia. If you sign up with the code Dow Mafia, then you will get $10 off your first $25 purchase. If you look at it, it's essentially like I'm buying you a beer, and who wouldn't like that? So whatever you're doing, do me a favor, download Tavor and start getting some beer to your doorstep today. Number 2, so many of you ask me, how can you support this channel? How can you support me? Well, I always tell everybody the easiest way is simply by smashing the ever-living out of that like button. But say you ever want to go the extra mile, Patreon is the way to do it. You can find that link in my description. I'm offering a bunch of super cool things. I'm inviting people to come onto my lives for Patreon subscribers. I'm going to be giving you exclusive content that will not be on YouTube. So definitely go on ahead and check out tiers and see whether or not that it's for you. If not, I totally understand. I'm just happy that you fools watch my content on a regular basis. So Dow Mafia, as far as storylines are concerned, I'm going to go on ahead and start off with one that gets me the most excited. Now, throughout camp, stories have always dominated around Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs, their continued chemistry that they seem to be demonstrating after an absolute electric 2020 season. Last year, Stefon Diggs ended up leading the league in a lot of categories as far as a receiver is concerned, specifically being the number 1 receiver for total yards, sitting at around the 1,500 mark. Josh Allen, as all of us know, he ended up finishing second in an MVP race, which was so impressive. He ended up signing a deal that makes him the highest paid quarterback in guarantees, not only in the NFL, but ever. And the kid definitely ended up earning that contract. Now, with Stefon Diggs, you're probably going to think that he's going to be getting a pretty massive deal as well. My guess is that it will be next year. Despite that, according to reports, it sounds like that the overall chemistry of Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs this year appears to be even better. And apparently the other day in practice, Stefon Diggs and Trey White, our best cornerback on the team, were lining up, and Diggs was essentially having his way with him during several of those snaps. Several reporters are starting to say that it doesn't matter who is lining up against Stefon Diggs. With Josh Allen on the other side of the ball, they are very difficult to stop on a consistent basis. Practically impossible. I'm very excited to see how this chemistry builds. I really hope that they're able to go on ahead and at least play one quarter or at least just a couple of drives in week 1. And so I really want to see what this chemistry is going to look like this year. I'm absolutely pumped about it. So second observation was a bit more of a somber one, I would say. I mean, maybe not somber, but you definitely understand where I'm coming from. There is no question that the Buffalo Bills ended up drafting 2 defensive ends in the first and the second with Boogie Basham and Gregory Rousseau. So now we need to look at our current roster of all of the defensive ends. We have obviously the rookies. We have AJ Epinesa, our first pick in the 2020 draft. We have Jerry Hughes, and we have Mario Addison. Now, I have seen a team carry 5 defensive ends before. It is pretty rare. So this essentially begs the question, who is going to be the defensive end that is going to get the short end of the stick? I can go on ahead and give you a couple of guarantees that I know are not leaving this team. Hands down, Rousseau, Basham, and AJ Epinesa. The youth of our team, we ended up spending a ridiculous amount of an investment on all three of those between the drafts. There is no way in hell, in my opinion, not unless one of them royally f***s up, that they are not going to be on this team. So that's going to leave Jerry Hughes or Mario Addison right at this point. So when you look at Jerry Hughes, he has not been able to play all training camp so far. He has a lingering calf strain. I think it has something to do where he just can't pass a physical, hence why he's not out there. And then you have Mario Addison, who, in my opinion, did not perform the way that I was expecting him to perform. So, with this being said, we have to ask ourselves, out of those two, who are we comfortable with letting leave? If either of them get cut or if either of them get traded, I've already looked at the salary cap implications. It would not affect it in a negative way whatsoever for either of those moves to be made. But now I think you need to ask yourself, what kind of leadership do you want in that room? I have full confidence that Mario Addison will be able to be a lot more effective this year due to the fact that he's not going to be out there as often. He's not going to experience as many snaps. But I suppose only time will tell. Do me a favor and leave a comment, and who do you think is going to be the one out? And so the final observation so far, there always is camp sweethearts. And so a couple of years ago, it was Christian Wade who ended up bringing a touchdown to the house in a preseason game. Last year, of course, it was Gabe Davis. It was Isaiah Hodgins. This year, there seems to be two names that are really making waves. Number one is Jay Kumaro, and then number two is Antonio Williams. Now, and so you know that my thought process on the whole camp sweetheart thing can be a bit cringe, right? And I am normally the kind of guy that's gonna go down and just beat down people's dreams by saying, no, bro, I don't think that a touchdown to the house, and so against a fourth string defense, is going to make me want to put him on this team. And that was sort of the instance with Antonio Williams last year. I mean, we were so starved for a running back last year that once Antonio Williams ended up going out and completely eating the Dolphins alive, he became like that next name that everybody wants to be put on the Buffalo Bills final roster and be a running back that we could think about. So far, he has actually been doing very good against first and second string defenses. And it definitely begs the question, what exactly is this running back room going to look like? I don't see us carrying more than four. And well, obviously Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are going to make this team, and so is Tywan Jones, who is tremendous in special teams. So now we have a new running back in town and right into Matt Breida. So now we have to start asking ourselves, can Antonio Williams continue to have an impressive of enough camp to actually make this roster? And so I suppose that's up for debate, and we're going to have to see how that plays out. And then finally, Jay Kumaro. I mean, honestly, I thought that once again he had one splash play on the Bills, and so then he ended up getting traded away to Green Bay and then ultimately back on this Buffalo roster. And apparently with the way that he's been playing during training camp, minus I think like a huge drop on a deep ball from Trubisky during yesterday's practice, he's been turning a lot of heads. And especially once we look at our receiver room, that final sixth spot has really just been up for debate. So is it going to be Isaiah Hodgins, who ended up missing the entire 2020 season, or is it going to be Jay Kumaro, who not only gets a bunch of praise from legendary quarterback Aaron Rodgers, will he potentially be that sixth wide receiver? At the end of the day, we don't know. Dom Mafia, those are my observations so far from camp. I do want everyone to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on either of those observations / storylines. And you know I always love having a debate in there. Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And do keep in mind that my live game reactions are coming back. I'm going to be live streaming my reaction to the preseason game against the Lions. And so you're definitely going to want to go ahead and tune into that and just come hang out with me while I watch a little preseason football action from our beloved Bills. Dom Mafia, thank you for tuning in. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.